Alright, so welcome to how to optimally progress Westside Conjugate programming for CrossFit athletes. I'm Joe Lasco, and for almost 10 years I was at Westside Barbell. Louie put me in charge of all CrossFit athletes coming through there, whether that's Games individuals, Games teams, or anyone visiting Rogue. As you know, Rogue is not very far away from Westside, about 6 miles, so we had a fair number of individuals coming through there wanting to learn how to actually use the system to get better at what they want to get better at, moreover from powerlifting. So today what we're going to go over is how to start from just doing a classic conjugate template one day a week all the way to a point where we're training in that template 8 times in a week. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into this. So the classic Westside Barbell template, if you're not familiar, it is a 4-day-a-week template of primary training days. So we have 2 max effort days denoted here on Monday, second one on Wednesday. Now typically Monday is a max effort lower, while Wednesday is a max effort upper rest day. And then we have 2 days pancaked together here on Friday and Saturday, dynamic effort lower and dynamic effort upper. All right, now the glorious part about this type of template that Lou put together is that your max effort days are pancaked with rest days. All right, now whether you need that to be a full rest day or an active recovery day, you have a full day to get back to neutral before the next max effort day. Now these max effort days are denoted by very, very high intensity and low volume. All right, so we're talking about low rep ranges, all right, but very, very high percentages, high working weight. All right, now dynamic effort, moderate intensity, moderate to high, and even ultra high volume being denoted by 75 plus reps. So we do a lot of that with banded work, reverse hypers, tricep extensions. All right, now this is the base template for how that system is run for powerlifting and beyond. All right, now what I was able to do, we're working with those athletes, taking them, all right, how do I take them, get them to this level and beyond, getting them accommodated to the work they need to get accommodated to without burning their system down. All right, that is the primary issue we run into with CrossFit. They want to go all in from the very beginning, and it's great, but it's also a detriment if they can't handle it. And 9 times out of 10, it's a bit too much to jump into. So let's kind of go into this, review a couple key points, and we'll go into how to actually take it from 1 day a week all the way to 8 times a week. All right, so quickly, max effort is defined by the most possible weight, a 1 rep max, not a percentage of a number. It is a 1 rep max that can be completed through a prescribed range of motion. That prescribed range of motion, whatever you necessarily need to work on. So if we're talking about a deadlift, all right, a rack pull would be if you're missing at the top, so a lot of glute in that. All right, if you're missing at the bottom, it is a deficit. All right, it could also be for an Olympic lift, like a squat clean. It could be a pause of some type. It could be against bands. It could be, a double pause. It could be some sort of variation, but a 1 rep max, the most weight possible that can be completed through that prescribed range of motion, and it is limited by a drop off of the weakest body part or ability. So again, in the squat clean, flexibility and mobility can be a limiting factor. All right, if you can't get in the position to receive the bar, that is a problem. You need to work on that. Not necessarily through the strength session, but on your own, that's something you need to address. If the bar is drifting away, we need to address your lats first. If the bar isn't staying engaged, if you're not upright through that pull, it's going to be upper back. All right. If the second pull is sluggish, very well could be a glute issue. All right. If for some reason we're folding over, it could be a mid to lower spinal erector issue. All right, so these are all ways that we can actually define the weakest body part or ability. Interestingly enough, Russians back in the day would actually hold 70 to 80% in their weakest position, and their coach would watch them. And as soon as they started to fall apart in their first issue, for instance, if their shoulder blades started to come undone, upper back, that was number 1. A little more longer into that time holding that position, or if the bar started to drift away, okay, lats would be number 2. All right, a little more into that. If you started to fold over, erectors would be number 3, and they would attack them in that succession. So upper back would be priority 1, lats would be priority 2, spinal erectors would be priority 3. All right, so the key as a coach, we want to get the maximal stimulus out of as little as possible. All right, wear and tear in the body, wear and tear in the joints. All right, it's an issue, especially in CrossFit. It is a sport of working out, and it is balls to wall all year. So we want to get as much as we can and as little as possible. So typically, I always start with dynamic effort lower. This is a day that most CrossFitters can connect with. We are talking about squatting, pulling, ATP belt squat work, reverse hyper work, that moderate intensity, but moderate to high to ultra high volume. It's something they always click with and they enjoy it. And as we all know, lower body really drives virtually everything, all right, in CrossFit in general. So we only have one day here because if we're introducing new stimulus, if we're introducing a box squat, which they've never done, which is one, if we're introducing a safety squat bar for the upper and mid back, which is a second layer of stimulus, if we're introducing at the same time bands, which is a third layer of stimulus, onto that safety squat bar, if we are then introducing them to sumo pulling, which is another new stimulus, number 4, if we are introducing them to bands pulling against bands in that sumo, that's 5. That's 5 different new stimulus the body now has to catch up to. All right, so as we go on in that session, especially at Westside, you're introducing a lot of specialty equipment, whether you're talking about like ATP or talking about reverse hypers, inverse curls, or something as simple as the proper way to pull a sled. Even though we primarily only do 3 auxiliaries, these are all new things. And I think the majority of us out there who have trained, been in the game long enough, or coached people long enough, can see those first couple of weeks you're doing something brand new. The jumps are just gigantic, huge nervous system jumps. All right, because your Golgi tendons are deactivating and everything is just jumping. So do we really need to do any more than that at first? I don't think so. Going into this, when I work with people, I do very, very little with them at first. And I tell them if they really think they need more, I just want you to go harder within the prescribed rep range. That's all I want you to do, or make it more tighter, so make it more sexy in that prescribed rep range. All right, so that's stage 1. Moving on to stage 2. Now we move into a 2-day purpose. You'll notice that dynamic effort lower is still on Friday. All right, but what we've done now we've gone through a month of that. We've also injected into dynamic effort upper. Again, moderate intensity, all right, but moderate to high to ultra high volume. So we are learning to press against chains. Now this doesn't necessarily need to be for a CrossFitter bench press. It can be an overhead press. It can be pull-up. It can be a chin-up. It can be those variations. You're still running 9x3, 9x4, 9x5 with that anywhere from 40 to 55, 60% for those triples to 5 rep. All right, but it's more specific to what they need in general. And we'll go over that in a later video of us. We'll talk about specificity. All right, but at this point now, we've injected 2 days. This is something completely new, completely different. They're doing things they've never really done. Now we're starting to get to the point where this is getting accommodated to. Now we inject 1 more day. All right, moving on. So stage 3, a 3-day purpose. This is the day that many stay on for a while. Because now what we've done, we've taken the dynamic effort lower, which remained on Friday. We've moved, all right, the dynamic effort upper to that Saturday. So they are back to back now. They will remain there for the remainder. In this sense, now that we have done 8 weeks of dynamic effort lower, we are accommodated to those movements. All right, we're not getting near as sore. We're not as taxed. We know how to handle it. We know how to recover that night and the morning before. So now we can slap on that dynamic effort upper on the back end, and there should be no lag. Should be absolutely no lag in that. The biggest difference, obviously, here to the left on Tuesday. Why do I do it? Why do I do max efforts on Tuesday? I have 2 days of rest after and 2 days of rest before. But you'll notice we'll have the first one, which is lower, next one, which is upper, lower, and upper. All right. When we alternate like this, it gives them an opportunity to touch a max weight. However, you're not constantly pounding their lower body every week or pounding their upper body every week, giving them time to build tolerance to the top end weights, tolerance to their joints, and an understanding of what an actual strain of a 1 rep max truly is. And it also gives you time as a coach, when you see what they're weak at, to really break down and get them accommodated over 14 days leading into the next. All right. So it is very important that when you start scheduling max effort, you do have 2 days on the back end, 2 days on the front end. Now, granted, they are doing other lifting around it. I understand that. This is a just base template, as though we are taking someone completely new to the conjugate system, Westside conjugate system specifically, and introducing this to them. All right, so moving on. So stage 4, so addition of supportive training. So recovery accessory workouts, I call raw workouts. All right, we're gonna start putting them in on Sunday. All right, now these are primarily recovery workouts. So we have these 2 days of back-to-back, and then now we have a third day. Now these recovery workouts, they are no more than 30 minutes. We are primarily talking about concentric work. So reverse hypers, sleds, bands, mobility work. This is where they start getting fitted in to the program. As you see here, they alternate every other week. So A, B, A, B. That way we're not hitting the exact same thing every time, giving the body, again, 14 days to accommodate before you come back to it. Max effort lower, upper, lower, upper. All right, same idea. Now we're just taking 1 day of complete rest, out of the equation. Now that, again, that 30 minutes of a recovery workout is exactly that. It's a recovery workout. It's not a training session. All right, we're not going balls to the wall. We're not trying to crush it. We're just trying to get blood moving, trying to build a little more tolerance to volume. All right, stage 5, so increase the small workout volume. So now we're just adding one in after those max effort days. These recoveries will be pretty similar to what we're doing. So for example, if we're doing max effort upper and we did a standing shoulder press, well, on Wednesday when I'm doing my recovery work, I want there to be some type of maybe just standing on bands, holding a band the opposite loop in the hand, pressing overhead for high to ultra high reps, so 40 to 75 plus reps. Just getting blood in there, getting blood moving, breaking up that soreness, breaking everything up, but doing those for multiple sets. So getting that additional volume in. All right. So now at this point here, stage 6, so increased specificity via intensity. We are talking about an AM/PM split. This is where it starts to look very familiar to if you've read any Westside literature. All right. So at this point, we've taken the lower, moved to Monday, upper, moved to Wednesday. Now we still have complete days of rest, all right, before and after, because we've gotten rid of the Sunday. We moved that Sunday down. All right, so now we have more intensity, which the volume should still be low here. All right, don't get carried away. Volume should still be low, but now on Monday, in the evening, all right, in the PM, we have a recovery workout. All right, and this recovery workout ideally is different from the previous month, denoted by EF, EF. Again, switching every other. All right. Now, stage 7. So you will reintroduce a second recovery workout. Again, recovery workout is key. It's not a training session. So on that Wednesdays, you're going to start popping in a recovery workout. All right, just right after. Again, not going hard. You're probably talking your intensity levels around 40 to 60%. You're just moving, getting sweat going, getting motion, getting loose, getting blood flow. All right, stage 8. So this is where a third recovery workout comes into play. All right. Now these Tuesday recovery workouts, these, depending on the athlete, can be a little more taxing or a little longer in my research, in my opinion, what I've dealt with. All right, because these days here, if they are one of those upper level CrossFitters, regional level, and they're living that life, you can actually inject a little more. So these can actually be here on Tuesday, possibly 30 to 45 minutes. You start them with a sled drag. They're actually doing more weighted things versus either body weight work or banded work. All right, but again, it is not a training session. It is not a training session. It is a recovery accessory workout. All right, and stage 9. So Lou once told me, I think my first week there, it was about 2011, he told me to get to the top, you have to train 8 times a week. And this, in my opinion, for a CrossFitter is going to be the best case scenario for that. All right, so you have your max effort lower, max effort upper, dynamic lower, dynamic upper, and then underneath here you'll see across the board in the PM you have recovery workouts. All right, at this point, these recovery workouts on the Tuesday and Thursday, if they can tolerate it, like I said in the previous on stage 8, can be a little longer. All right, they again try to think grand scheme, so low wheelbarrow work, light yoke work, sled work, the actual weighted reverse hypers, actually a little bit more effort. All right, these here after Your max effort upper and max effort lower, very short, very sweet, very to the point. All right, and that's basically it. We're going to arrive here. This is where we're going to be. As you can tell, we're now in April of 2022. We started in August of 21. This is not something you just jump into. It is too much stimulus. If we were talking about running it as we would at Westside, it is a lot if you just barely jump into it. So please, if you want to do this, please start from the beginning. Take your time with it. Take it a month at a time. Call them blocks, call them weeks, I don't care what you call them. Take your time with it, and sooner than later, you will end up at this one here, and you will find yourself being an absolute machine.